Welcome to the life you crave. Simple and sustainable weight loss for women who have better things to do than diet. I'm your host, Leah Pinelli. I help ambitious, badass women stop overeating, overworking, and overgiving to lose weight from a place of love. I'll help you simplify weight loss, end your overwhelm, and create the life you crave. If you like what you hear, please like and subscribe to this podcast. Let's get started. Hello, my friends. So here we are in the throes of holiday season, and holidays are stressful for a lot of us, and for women, I think in particular, especially if you're a part of the ambitious, high-achieving, working girl gang like I am. There's all kinds of stress during the holiday season. There's just more to do. There's decorating, planning, entertaining, traveling, shopping. That's on top of our jobs that don't typically stop over the holidays. So it's just a lot more on top of our already full lives, as I like to say, instead of busy. Sometimes there's financial stress. And the mother of all the stressors, I think, is those tricky family relationships and expectations that people have of us and of the holidays. Most of my AHA girl gang, as I call them, the AHA standing for ambitious, high-achieving women, we are stress eaters. I mean, at least I used to be a stress eater. So when the holidays roll around, it can really feel like a deluge of emotional eating. By the way, I'm teaching a free masterclass called Hack Holiday Overeating Without Feeling Deprived on November 16th and 19th. Of 2022, where I'm going to be teaching you the 3 tools that you can use to not overeat and actually increase your pleasure factor over the holiday. It's a great complement to this episode, and you can sign up at leahpinelli.com/holiday hack. That link will also be in the show notes. But on today's episode, I'm going to share with you the most important thing you need to do in order to not overeat your way through the stress of the holidays. You ready? I'm going to give it to you right here. Here it goes. You need to ask yourself first this incredibly important question. This is step number 1. I'm going to give you 4 steps, but this first step is the most important. The question that you need to ask yourself in order to not overeat throughout the holidays is the very sacred question, what would I love? What would I love? This is not a small question. This is not an indulgent question. And this is definitely not, despite first perception, this is not a selfish question. This question, as I have learned from one of my mentors, Felicia Searcy, is the most important question you can ask yourself on so many levels. But for our purposes today on the podcast, I'm going to tell you why it's so relevant to ending overeating and so crucial. When you ask yourself this question, what would I love? You automatically put yourself into a state of love. Like, just try it right now. Just ask yourself, imagine, close your eyes just for a minute and say, what would I love? What would I love right now? What would I love? And you'll find that as you start to think about what you would love, you start to feel happy, warm, loving, and more alive. And isn't that how you want to feel anyway? Like all the time, but especially over the holidays? Isn't that what the holidays is all about? Lights and laughter and love, but yet so rarely turns out that way. It's stressful family events, food pushers, which I'm doing a whole episode on later, and that will be also addressed in my Hack Holiday Overeating free masterclass. So make sure you sign up if you feel the pressure of food pushers. But it's not just stressful family events and food pushers. It's tightening pants, pants that feel like they're getting tighter while you're sitting at the table. I know I've had that experience. And wishing that it would all kind of be over sooner rather than later so that you could get your act together and join that gym and start that diet and, get your life in order. Instead, as always, I invite you to try a different approach, because if that approach worked, it would have worked by now. How many times have you done it? I know I had done that, the whole gym and diet thing in January, 1,000,000 times, and I haven't even been alive for 1,000,000 years, but it felt like I had done it 1,000,000 times. So I invite you this time to today, tonight, this weekend, at some point before the holidays, Thanksgiving rolls around, I invite you to find a quiet space and center yourself with a few deep breaths. Close your eyes if that feels comfortable to you, or you can just allow a soft gaze 3 to 5 feet in front of you on the floor. And really, truly, bring a journal and a pen, or a notebook and a pen, and truly, earnestly ask yourself, what would I love to experience over the holidays? What would I love to have, to do, to give? And as my mentor Felicia says, most importantly, who would I love to be over the holidays? See what comes up for you. See what images surface when you ask yourself that question. Don't be afraid, girl. You can do this. You can do this. See what images come up for you and just jot them down in your journal. Why? Why are we doing this? We're doing this because our habits won't ever change permanently without a fundamental shift in who we are being, in who you are. Our habits define who we are and the results that we get in our lives. And in turn, how we see ourselves informs our habits. I'm going to say that again because I know it's a little bit tricky. It's a loop. It's a virtuous or a vicious cycle, depending. I'll say it again. Our habits define who we are and the results that we get in our lives. And in turn, how we see ourselves informs our habits. So your habits determine who you are, and who you are determines your habits. So you do have to take this deep dive into who you are and the best way to do that, who it is that you're being and who it is that you want to be. And the best way to do that is to ask yourself that question, what would I love? Because when you move toward love, toward expansiveness, and I know this sounds woo-woo, but girl, just work with me on it because it works. When you move toward love and expansiveness, you won't be steered wrong, even when it comes to food. Because guess what? When we are loving ourselves, when we are really like Lizzo loving ourselves, you guys know I'm the biggest Lizzo fan in the world. When you are Lizzo loving yourself, you are not going to mistreat yourself. You are not going to stuff yourself. You are going to do what feels good and what feels like love. In order to shift, you must know to your core who it is that you most want to be, who it is that you would love to be. And I know for me, when I used to be a chronic overeater, I just wanted to be a woman at peace with food. So ask yourself, what would I love? And see what comes up for you. See what surfaces. Allow yourself to dream in images of what a holiday would look like, could look like, if it was an experience that you truly loved. Now, for a lot of us, this might seem like a pointless pipe dream because immediately our, quote, rational mind will tell us, I can't have that. Let's say, for example, you're imagining a holiday where it's totally low stress and everyone is relaxed, sitting around the table eating, and then everyone goes home and it's short but sweet. But your brain is like, you can't have that. Everybody would be so disappointed. Aunt Susie and all of the cousins would be so disappointed to not stay for the whole weekend like usual. And if it's relaxed, who would cook? How would we eat? This is what I encourage you to do instead. Slow your roll. Stay in that feeling of what you would love instead of moving into the how for now, right? Just stay in that feeling of what you would love and allow yourself to explore there, jotting down the top 3 feelings that you really want to have, that you really want to cultivate over the holiday. And if hosting a big family event is your jam, feeling the hustle and the bustle of holiday energy and cooking and cleaning for everyone, then more power to you, sister. There is no right or wrong in this game. I just want you to tap into what feels expansive versus constricting. So that's step one. What would you love? Step two, after you've got a really clear picture of what you would love, you have to write it down. Now, I know I said that in the last one, like get your journal and jot it down, but this is a real step. You can't skip it. Put it in your journal and be sure to record the feelings that you want to experience as well. That is a very important step. So step one, what would I love? Meditate on that, marinate in it, love on it. And then step two, write it down. No matter how crazy, no matter how unrealistic your brain tells you it is. Because that will bring us to step three. And step three is to brainstorm what it could look like. Just for funsies, right? Like let yourself be free. I mean, this is just you writing in a journal, okay? Nobody's buying, plane tickets right now, but like this is just you brainstorming. For example, for me, it might look like a Thanksgiving trip to Aruba with just my little family, right? No expectations, no cooking, nada. Or maybe it looks like scheduling a house cleaner for the Wednesday before Thanksgiving and then going out to eat that night so we don't mess up the house, and then receiving guests on Thursday, but having the whole meal catered, right? Depending on your resources, you could have it all delivered from your local Whole Foods or grocery store, or have someone come in and cook it for you, right? Which I know that'd be a little pricey, but I'm just saying, right? We're women who make money out here. We can make these decisions for ourselves. Or make a new tradition, right? Maybe your new Thanksgiving tradition is sushi takeout. Okay, don't worry. I know what's happening in your head right now. You're thinking, but everyone would be so disappointed. I can't do that. That would be so selfish. And that, my friends, brings me to step number 4. Before I dive into step number 4, I want to just back it up a little bit. Because right now, if you're listening to this and you know the holidays are stressful and you know you are stress eating and overwhelm eating and unhappiness eating over the holidays, no matter how hard you try not to, right now, I want you to know that a major reason for that is because you're stretching yourself too thin. You're trying to do it all. And I'm not saying you have to give up cooking if you like cooking. That's the whole reason that you ask yourself that question. What would I love? One of my best friends, she dreads the holiday travel, that she's got to pack her whole family in the car and they got to drive 5 hours and it's snowing and all the things. So for her, this might look like just fantasizing about what it would look like to say, we're staying home this holiday. We're not coming, right? She would have to then work with this idea of disappointing everyone, of feeling selfish, of deciding that she's not going to do it. Whatever it is for you, right? Know that you are stretching yourself too thin, or maybe you're not doing all the things, but you just have to show up somewhere and you're dreading it because family relationships sometimes are less than warm and fuzzy every year. So what would happen instead? Normally you would just push through. You'd grin and bear it through the snow and the traffic and the, weirdo cousins who are always pissing you off, or your mother making those triggering remarks. And at best, you would eat your way through the discomfort. And at worst, you'd become a stressed out, grumpy martyr. And that was totally me, by the way, who everyone is trying to steer clear of because they don't want to set you off. And you're overeating and you're overdrinking, and you end up having a mediocre or maybe even an abysmal time laced with regret and discomfort. So really, what are we doing this for, right? If it doesn't really feel good, if it doesn't really feel like love, what are you doing it for? Were you to claim what you really wanted, what feels like love, that is the energy that you would then show up with. That is the joy and the happiness you would bring to the event. And everyone would benefit. Think about it. Nobody wants to be at the table with somebody who's grumpy or just a little passive aggressive because they're exhausted and overstretched and stressed out. I know what you're thinking. That were you to do this, people would be so disappointed. And so you're thinking things like, I can't enjoy and live in that happy energy if my mom is upset that I didn't make the traditional turkey and instead ordered from Whole Foods. But that, my friend, is where you are wrong. The only reason you think you can't enjoy yourself if someone else is upset is because you don't want her to feel disappointed. So instead, you disappoint yourself. I know, because I used to do this all the time. We self-sacrifice over and over to make other people happy. And in the end, you aren't happy. And really, others aren't happy either because you're no fun to be around or you're faking it, which feels bad to everyone anyway. And it results in overeating, overdrinking, and self-soothing with food and booze. In fact, I want to share with you an inspiring story of a woman that I don't know personally, but I've known her for a long time. She's a really well-known life coach. And last year over the holidays, she decided that she was just going to leave her family. Now her children are grown, but that doesn't really matter. She left her husband and her 2 kids, and she decided to take a trip by herself up to New England. And she posted all about it on Instagram. And she was just like, I'm not doing this year. And she just decided to do that. Now, some people might say, oh my gosh, how could she do that? How could she leave her family? It's so selfish. But guess what? She had a great freaking time. At least that's the way it looked on Instagram, right? And I know we're always, kind of presenting a certain facade on Instagram, but it was inspiring to me that this woman, this mom who's been, I'm sure, holding it down for the 25 years that she's been a mom, decided, I'm going to do whatever the F I want this holiday season. And she did. And that was definitely kind of her attitude. And I was like, more of us really could do that. We really could do that. One of the most powerful transformations I've ever had was when I decided I was willing to tolerate the super uncomfortable feeling of other people being disappointed in me. I found great liberation in that decision to just let other people be disappointed in me. Because if I'm willing to let others be disappointed in me, I am free to live from a place of self-authority and, most importantly, self-authenticity. And that feels good. It feels way better than people-pleasing ever did. So step 4 is to be willing to let other people be disappointed in you. In the end, everyone is happier because you will be authentically happier, and that really does matter. As my dad used to always say, if mama ain't happy, no one is happy. And girl, let me tell you, in my house, that was true. We overeat for many reasons, but one of the biggest reasons we overeat is to avoid uncomfortable feelings. And holiday stress and overwhelm is uncomfortable, and it lasts for months. So I invite you to investigate, indeed, interrogate the root of your stress and overwhelm, and really consider making some changes if the holiday season does not feel like love to you. You just might be surprised at how increasing your joy factor and decreasing your stress factor impacts your eating habits. That's what I have for you all today. Don't forget, you guys, to join me in my free Hack Holiday Overeating Without Deprivation Masterclass going on November 16th and 19th. You can sign up at leahpinelli.com/holiday hack. It's going to be so much fun. I hope to see you there. Ciao.
You've been listening to The Life You Crave. I lost 30 pounds years ago without dieting, willpower, or deprivation. I'm on a mission to help other women, including you, do the same. You can book a free weight loss strategy session with me over at leahpinelli.com. That's LIAPINELLI.com. See you on our next call or on the next episode. And remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment on iTunes.